Hi, my name's Kirsty Hassard and I'm a curator at V&A Dundee and I'm here for Design Milk for DMTV Milkshake. So my first question is, do you have a favourite piece in the exhibition? I think it's one of the easiest things to answer for me. My favourite piece is actually, it's a bit of a maybe slightly taking advantage because it's 3 pieces. And my favourite person to research and to curate in the exhibition is somebody called Frances Farquharson, who was an American fashion journalist who wrote for British Vogue and was the editor of Harper's Bazaar in the 1930s and 1940s. And she came to Scotland in the late 1940s when she married the local laird, the Laird of Invercald, and she became Frances Farquharson. And because of that name, her new surname has a clan, Tartan, associated with it. And she acquired a fabulous new wardrobe to associate herself with this new surname and this new family. And we've got 3 of those pieces in the exhibition, and I was really drawn to her as a sort of fashion chameleon, I guess, but somebody who was able to adapt their personality basically through their fashion sense. Another question is, can you share insight into Alexander McQueen's interest in tartan? So Alexander McQueen, of course, was a British fashion designer who his father was Scottish. His father was from Skye, and of course with his McQueen surname he automatically had the McQueen tartan, and he returned to use that throughout his whole career, but in 3 occasions in particular, all of which you see in the exhibition. So he used it in Joan in his collection from 1998 that looked at the idea of Catholic martyrs, in particular in Mary Queen of Scots, and really showed that metaphor of tartan being a metaphor for martyrdom, particularly within Scotland. And then he returned to tartan again in 2006 with the Widows of Culloden collection, which I think is probably one of his most famous, where he looks at the idea of the idea of martyrdom and this sort of tragic history around Scotland in the mid-18th century, and how that's kind of carried through to how Scotland is seen in the modern day in the 20th and 21st century, and tartan is a huge part of that. And another question is, what can you tell us about the Glen Affric tartan? So Glen Affric tartan was one of, well, I think is probably the most exciting discovery that we made as part of the curation of the exhibition. The Glen Affric tartan is through radiocarbon dating we discovered with help from National Museum Scotland and the Scottish Tartans Authority. The Glen Affric tartan is the oldest tartan ever to be discovered in Scotland, or potentially in the world. It dates from between 1500 and 1550. And as its name suggests, it was found in a bog in Glen Affric, which is between Skye and Inverness up in the Scottish Highlands. What's so exciting about it is that it conforms to the idea of tartan as we know it today. So it's got the idea of colour, pattern and proportion, and that conforms with any tartan you might see that's designed today, like a Royal Stuart tartan, for example, whereas other textiles that have claimed to be tartans that might have been discovered that are earlier than this one are checks instead. But this is what we have here, is a true tartan. So my final question is, do you think tartan's future will prove to be as rich as its past? I absolutely think this. I think through curating the exhibition, we're able to make so many discoveries of new designers working within Scotland and out with, who are constantly using tartan and making it relevant for the 21st century. Those are designers such as Charles Jeffrey, Nicholas Daly, Ola B. Thomas, and new graduates, in fact, such as Owen Snaith, who are constantly looking at tartan and how it identifies with those particular designers' separate identities, and how it can be applied to so many things, whether that's gender, sexuality, nationality. It proves that tartan is so much a textile that's relevant for the 21st century in the same way it's been relevant over the past 500 years. So I think its future will continue to be equally as rich. And thank you so much for listening, and I hope you come and visit the exhibition.